What is up, everyone? Renfill here, and we're back again with another guide to Baldur's Gate 3. And today we're breaking down spellcasting in this game. We're going to be talking about the different types of spellcasting, whether it's sort of like we're here on my ranger as an example. The spellcasting you can do as a ranger versus what you can do as a sorcerer or a druid or a wizard, and some of the tips and tricks to help you get going in Baldur's Gate 3 and better understand the spellcasting system in this game if you are someone who is new to Dungeons & Dragons, new to Baldur's Gate as a series, or new to Baldur's Gate 3. Because even if you've played the first couple of games, this one is a little different. And even though you might know a little bit of 5th edition rules, they've got some custom stuff going on here in Baldur's Gate 3 to adapt it to the CRPG format. So in any case, that's the theme today. Hopefully you're ready to sink your teeth in with me. If you haven't already done so, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. And let's get going into the video. So one of the first things to understand about spellcasting in Baldur's Gate 3 is that ranged damage in this game is based on height and visibility more than anything else. So your success rate at landing a spell is largely going to be impacted by where you're placed in the world, which is why the verticality of this game is so very important. Also, whether or not the creatures in question have any natural resists. As you know, as an example, elves have this built-in resistance to charm and sleep spells, which works in your favor if you're playing an elf. But also when you're going up against them, it can be quite a bit of a challenge. But really quickly, let's take a look at this. So if I have Gale selected here, and if I select a Firebolt as an example, this one right here I have a 75% chance to hit. This one over here is a 65% chance. That's somewhat related to the height, but also the visibility. And then if I look at, say, over here, well, this one I only have a 65% chance. But if I look at Lae'zel as an example, only a 45% chance because the visibility to her is incredibly reduced. Now, if we look at this one as an example, right now I have a 65% chance, right? But if I run up over here, it's going to be minuscule at this height distance, but you'll notice that I immediately am now 10% higher to land a spell on him. And if I go back over here to her, it was 45% earlier, but now it's 55%. This is now 75% as well. This one is now 85%. So the height of your character in comparison to all the other targets you're going to be using your spells on, at least for direct damage spells, is very important. Now, things like Grease, you might have 100% ability to land it because it's not a direct damage spell, it's an area effect spell which can potentially do something to the target. So if we look at Grease, it says, covers the ground in grease, slowing creatures within and possibly making them fall prone. That possibly is a key factor here because they do get a, as you notice here, a dex save. And when you're going to cast spells, you're going to want to look here because here, again, a Thunder Wave, as an example, releases a wave of thunderous force that pushes away all creatures and objects, but targets can save and not get pushed back, although they will still take half damage, and it says here that it's a constitution save. So anytime you're looking at these, make sure to check your spells to see whether or not they have any innate resists, because that's going to impact whether or not they resistor saves, I should say, whether or not the spell's actually going to do anything to me. And something like Scorching Ray, since it's a direct damage spell, you're going to want to have the highest percentage possible to land that spell. Otherwise, you're wasting, a spell slot and all the damage that it can potentially do. So you're going to want to make sure your characters are as high as possible. I don't think any game has done verticality as good as Larian Studios has done with Baldur's Gate 3. And as often as possible, if you know that there's going to be a combat counter coming up ahead of you, you're going to want to try to position your spellcasters, along with your ranged characters in general, as high as possible so that they have the best view of the combat encounter laid out before you, and also the highest chance to land their spells, which gives you the highest chance of success in doing damage in combat scenarios. Now, switching over to Shadowheart as an example, looking at things like buffs and debuffs. So if I don't think I have a Bless memorized here. Let's go ahead and go into her spell bar and change this out. Oh, you know what? This is the perfect moment to talk about this, actually, and then we can get into her thing next. I love when I'm doing these videos and I go off script. So any caster that you have in the game you can change their spells on the fly before an encounter, as an example. So you can go into your spell book here, and I could say, okay, here's what I currently have memorized. I don't have bless. I want to bless. Well, let's go ahead and click that prepare spells button. And this is going to open up this window right here, and the yellow highlighted ones are the spells that I currently have memorized. Now I can change these on the fly, at least the prepared versions. Inherent are a little bit different because these are class-based and or race-based and or, gear things that you have equipped. So let's say I want to get rid of Create or Destroy Water. That's a useless spell to me at this moment, and I want to take Bless instead because that's something that I actually wanted to show you. Now you can do this with any spellcaster character if they are an inherent spellcaster. Lae'zel, as an example, I don't have a button to prepare spells because as an Eldritch Knight, she just has a few things at her disposal. But Gale, as an example, I can also prepare spells with him. And then looking at Arendelle, my ranger, he also cannot change his spells on the fly. So really this only applies to like clerics, druids, sorcerers, warlocks, etc. Those who are inherent spellcasters. But something else, which we're going to talk about later in the video, is going to be this button right here, Learn More Spells, which only Warlocks and Mages get, or Warlocks and Wizards, I should say. We'll talk about that a little bit. In the meantime, anybody who's an inherent spellcaster can change spells on the fly. You also obviously can change spells every time you level. Now that we've gotten my sidetrack moment out of the way, let's talk about buffs and debuffs. So in this case, we've got Shadowheart here. She's got two different spells that we can use here, Bane and Bless. Now, it's important to read through these because it says, Bless as an example, bless up to 3 creatures, and they gain, a bonus to attack rolls and saving throws. And Bane does the exact opposite. You can impart a penalty to attack rolls and saving throws on mobs, but it can only target up to 3 creatures. So the way this works, you have to be careful of this when you're doing your AoE, because if you have more than 3 people in your party, in this case I have pets, you'll notice I have a wolf pet and a bird pet with my ranger companion. I don't want to put the buff on my animals. So if I was wanting to get around this, what I would need to do is move them out of the way so that I can make sure that I'm only buffing the characters that I want to buff. So I'm going to go ahead and move my bird up here. I'm also going to select my wolf and move my wolf up here. They're being stubborn. They don't want to move the way I want them to. All right, I'm going to have to just move because they're linked to my ranger. So let's get my ranger over here. And we're going to place him in such a manner, and then I'll need to take Shadowheart, put her here, get Gale, put him here, and get Lae'zel and put her here. That way I can, because this goes in a circle. This is the reason I wanted to explain this way. So see, it's a giant circle. Let me pan the camera out. We'll go into tactical view. You see that white circle? That represents the buff. So if I don't want to get the pets, because right now it would get the pets, I would go over here and say I only want to get my guys. But wait a second, we've also got enemies in the way. Well, I don't want to bless the enemies. So again, placement is key to this. So I would need to then go, okay, if I don't want to bless the enemy, I need to be more strategic about this, and I need to say, let's put Gale up here, let's put my ranger up here, and let's put Lae'zel up here. Good for you, Lae'zel. And then we're going to bring her over here, like so, and go back into tactical view so you guys can see this, and let's take the bless now, and now I can get the characters that I want, which in this case I'm getting 3 of these, and if I wanted it to be Lae'zel, I would need to move myself out of the equation. So let's take Shadowheart, move her down here, and take Lae'zel, put her over here, go back to Shadowheart, click my bless, and now you'll notice I can get all 3 of the characters that I want. So again, this is a little bit of finagling, but it's important to understand so that when you're doing a buff, you don't accidentally buff the wrong creatures. So make sure that you're highlighted. You'll see a blue icon around them when they're highlighted. We'll click the bless button, and we will then cast, and I've gotten those 3 characters with bless. Now similarly, the same thing with Bane. If I'm not careful, you can get more than just the intended targets within it. So in this case, we would hit these 3 with Bane, we would click it, and this will either launch us into combat or cause us to take a faction hit. But it's the same thing with any of these area effect spells that are buffs or debuffs. You have to pay attention to the amount of targets that it can creature and then position yourself accordingly to hit the creatures that you want. What's up, everybody? Quick commercial break here to give it a shout out to our guild champions, who are the highest tier memberships here on YouTube. Ancient Entity, Assassin Gamer 94, Babylonia Rising, Crazy's Relative, Mujin, and Remedy. Thanks so much for the highest tier membership. And thanks to all of the members who support the channel, because you keep me doing this full time. You too can become a supporter if you're new here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Join as a member. There's 3 different tiers. We do lots of special stuff, private polls, private videos. You get a shout out if you're the highest tier membership, but you can also do one-off donations in the form of super chats on any live stream or premiere you see, and of course super thanks on any upload or YouTube short. Whatever you can contribute, it's great. Keeps me on the air full time, keeps the cats fed, keeps the homestead running. Anyway, back to the video, everybody. Most of the characters in this game come with inherent spells that they get every level, such as the druid or the cleric. And wizards and warlocks and so on and so forth, bards and rangers, they get spells every level as well. But one of the differences between the wizard and the warlock compared to everybody else is the wizard and warlock can also learn spells from scrolls that you find in the wild or that you buy off of merchants. Now there's 2 ways that you can do this. One is which you can find the scroll in your inventory, right click it, and then you need 100 gold to learn this spell, right? So it actually costs money to learn this spell, but you can right click on it, and if you have the money, there's a button here that says learn this spell. So in this case, I don't quite have enough money yet, so we'll have to go sell something to be able to memorize this. But this is one of the ways you can do this, is you can choose to right click the item in your inventory. But what happens when you have an inventory that's a chaotic mess like this character? Well, you'll need to either go down in here to the drop down and filter by scrolls, of which I only have 1, but there is an easier way, which I generally like to show people because it's a fun little thing. So remember how I showed you the spellbook earlier and I talked about this little button that you could click to learn more spells? It says here, wizards can learn new spells by transcribing spell scrolls to their spellbook in exchange for gold. Scrolls are destroyed once transcribed, and learning a spell from your own school of magic costs less than it does for those outside. I think he's spec evocation, so anything from the evocation line is going to cost less. But if you don't want to scroll through your inventory, you don't want to filter all this stuff, it's really simple to just click this button, and it will show you all of the available scrolls that you have, not just in your inventory, but that anybody in your party has in their inventory that you can use, that you could learn. And then it's just a simple matter of clicking this and filtering all the ones you want to learn, and then it'll show you down here on the bottom how much gold it costs, and then if you have the available gold, you click learn. In this case, I only have 92 gold because these characters are newish and I haven't done any selling yet, but the purpose of this is to show you how this works. So really quickly, if we wanted to, let me go ahead and take Aaron Deal. We'll go over here and maybe sell something to get a couple of gold at my disposal.
Of course. But please, remember.
Let's go ahead and sell a few things. We'll go to the barter window. Sorry, here. Go ahead and open that up. And let's get rid of this. What did I say we needed? 200? Something like that. You know, that's enough for now, because we're just doing this for the purposes of showing everybody.
Sylvanus be with you.
Thank you very much. So let's go back to Gale really quick. We're going to open up that window once again. Well, I can also show you this too. If you right click now, it just says learn spell 100 gold. Or I can go in here and I click spellbook, go to learn new spells, highlight the 2 of these. It costs 200 gold to learn. Hit this button. Boom! 2 new spells gained. Hit the K spell, hit the K button to view, and then it'll show these here. And if I go into prepared spells, I could then find them here and memorize them accordingly. Invisibility and Misty Step. Groovy stuff, no? One more thing to talk about is area effect spells, which have aspects that can be changed depending on what they are. So an example of this would be web or grease, both of which are flammable surfaces that you can do something with. Now, other things like create water, you can create a pool of water and then use electricity to put that water, make it electrified, or to do other things to it. There's lots of different things. There's AoEs like acid and so on and so forth. But really what I wanted to show you is things like grease, We'll choose the level 1 version, and I'm going to hit a portion of the ground here. You know, it might not show that well. Let's put it over here on the grass so that we actually see what it looks like against the, you know, it turns that grass greasy looking. Now,
Step by step.
if someone were to step into that, they would have to make a dex save or fall prone, but you can also do something fun like firebolt and turn that on fire. Also web is flammable, so it's another thing you can do. But the point here is that many surfaces in the game can be impacted with spells, whether it's an electric spell, a cold spell, or a fire spell. So always be on the lookout for surfaces, and if you don't have a surface readily available to you, you can create them using spells from your spell books. So again, you know, we got rid of, well, I'll show you this one really quick. We'll do Firebolt. Boom, we did that. Well, let's go back over to Shadowheart really quick. We're going to go back to her prepare spells area. We're going to get rid of Bless, and we're going to say we want create water, like so. And then I'm going to have her create a surface of water. Right over here. No, hang on. I clicked the wrong thing. Create or destroy water. I created the destroy, not create. Haha. So now it's the same thing. We're going to create a watery surface. Just like so. Now if we have a lightning spell, which this may be the fun one. Do I have a lightning spell? I might not at the moment. But what about Ray of Frost? Oh, we have now turned that into ice, everybody. You could do lots of different things with surfaces with your spells. So this is a great way to burn cantrips, because cantrips don't take up any spell slots, but they can convert an area into something else. By the way, can you do that twice in a row? You can. Now, I don't think I have a lightning spell at my disposal to... Oh, yes, I do. We could do this. Let's wait for this to churn back to water really quick, and we'll do lightning. So again, don't be afraid to use surfaces to your advantage. Don't be afraid to use spells that create surfaces to your advantage, because you can impact the combat scenarios in a lot of different ways using your spells and your cantrips. Well, there you have it, everyone. That is the quick and easy version of breaking down spellcasting for people who might be new to Baldur's Gate 3. There's obviously a lot more to spellcasting than what we covered in this guide, but this is sort of the entry-level version of this, and we'll be diving into more advanced guides as we get deeper into the Baldur's Gate 3 launch. So, if all that sounds great to you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Join us in the Discord, support if you can with Super Chats, memberships, and all that other good stuff, and I'll see everybody in the next video or live stream. Until then, stay safe and happy gaming.